All right, so this is going to be a good one today. We're going to talk about VR and not only VR as a technology, but how VR will be integrated into a lot of different businesses into what I think will either be the metaverse or a Web3 environment that will start to evolve, especially as we see technology advance a lot. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to Metaverse Insider. Joining me today is Pearly Chen, who is the VP over at HTC leading their VR efforts. So, Pearly, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Paul, for having me. Pleasure to see you
Yeah.
again.
It's always fun. We get a chance to talk to some of the device makers. And, when we get into something like this, which we find, in the metaverse a lot, obviously, with what's been happening at Meta, we're now seeing big announcements coming in from Apple. HTC has been doing their own groundwork in all of this cool stuff. So let's get into a little bit with you about where HTC is right now.
HTC is at the forefront of leading this evolution of what we call the internet today into the future of our digital life in a more immersive, contextual way that is open, interoperable, and secure. So just a few weeks ago at a Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, we unveiled our latest innovation in device, that's Vive XR Elite,
Yep.
which is really exciting device, the most exciting we've worked on yet. It has superb combination of power and compact form factor, lightweight and versatile. So we're really excited about this device. But again, as we continue to push the envelope of XR devices to make sure that adoption curve can continue to grow, we also want to make sure that this future of the internet that we want to build for our next generations remains open, interoperable, and secure for everyone to have the ability to access and create and benefit from this new economy. Hence, we have provided new updates on the front of ViveVerse, which is our vision for the Open Metaverse. And there'll be a lot more exciting updates regarding the ViveVerse that you'll see later this year. So for businesses alike and consumers alike, HTC and Vive at our heart have been very focused on how humanity combined with the best of technological innovation can bring positive impact to society and people's lives. And we continue to push in that front, whether that's device, it's a ViveVerse ecosystem, it's content enterprise services. We're pushing all in and look forward to playing our role in contributing to realizing this vision that we all share.
Yeah. The visuals that we just showed on screen, pretty amazing work. And I think as we see VR really kind of elevate to the next level, it's going to be pretty interesting to watch. Now, when we talk about it here on the show, we look at kind of the growth sectors, where the markets are growing. When you look at VR growth right now and the outlook by the end of 2023, where do you see this going? I mean, there's a few things here I wanted to kind of feature. This was a story coming from IDC, Sony's PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, mainly shifting to around 30 million units a quarter. But then you've got the potential here right now of hitting 100 million AR VR devices in circulation by 2026 is their estimates. What are your thoughts on how 2023 lands up in terms of growth for VR?
None of us have a crystal ball to predict the actual devices that will be shipped, but I know that this will be the best year for XR yet. We have
Yeah.
started investing in this ecosystem in 2015, 14, 15, and it's been steadily growing from what sounded like a very niche, early adopter technological enthusiast toy to now much more into the mainstream of people understanding that this is a technology platform for not just entertainment, but for very profound applications in enterprise, productivity, in healthcare, in training and learning, and arts and culture, in so many areas that we've been steadfastly investing. So even the research companies like many smart researchers and consulting agencies like Deloitte have recently published data that says that 2023 will see a 50% year-on-year growth in the VR industry, reaching a total of $7 billion, I believe. There are a lot of different industry numbers being thrown out there. We know that if we put our head down and focus on the right direction of innovation according to our vision, then we'll continue to see great returns for our customers and for the
Yeah.
industry.
I was looking at this chart that kind of, this is Meta's VR headset, but just the growth curve that you can kind of see here all the way back to 19 Christmas Day, and it's showing kind of the Christmas numbers here. 19, obviously a big growth in 2020. 2021 was the big spike. And then even now in 2022, which is kind of economically challenged, but at the same time still seeing continued growth. You guys are kind of moving in that direction as well. Now you've really accelerated with what you guys are doing on ViveVerse in comparison with what Meta is doing. I mean, we have to talk about the competition. Meta and then of course Apple announcing their device potentially by end of year. Where you guys are in the position, how do you think this lines up for the consumer down the road? Are we going to see, like you're talking about, a little bit more streamlined devices, possibly maybe more affordable, things of that nature? Where do you see that going?
This is great for consumers. Competition is great for an industry to continue to grow. We're still so early in the industry, in the adoption curve, that more players that join to push the innovation, the better outcome for consumers. So it's very exciting year. As I said, we're shipping in end of February the new Vive XR Elite. The rumors are
Mhm.
saying Meta and Apple will come up with new devices as well, Sony as well, and PlayStation VR 2. So these are all proof points that this industry is here to stay and way beyond, well beyond a console type of device for
Right.
consumers. So the more interest, especially from all of the players of all sizes, the better. But it's really important that we have diverse vantage points and views and inputs in the industry. Oftentimes, it's important to know that the products are the products itself. The users and consumers don't need to be the product. That's where we want to focus on openness and interoperability.
Yeah, for sure. I like the idea of what the XR Elite's going to look like in terms of just kind of what we'll see in the amount of advancements here. When you look at resolution, because that's one of the big kind of, I wouldn't say knocks, but the issue of getting to higher resolution, mainly within the VR environment, just the explanation, the experiences that we've talked about here is, when would we see those kinds of resolutions, much like what we see like on our monitors, in just a 2D experience in the VR aspect, especially from the devices themselves?
In with the Vive XR Elite, you can already enjoy 4K resolution with two eyes, which is good enough for using virtual desktop to simulate a desktop environment for focus. We even tested this in reading our smartphone through
Mhm.
the video pass through, and you can perfectly read your smartphone text. So the resolution are definitely getting there in terms of usability and comfort, and will
Yeah.
continue to improve, no doubt.
How does within VR, do you see, obviously there's millions and millions of people who have corrective lenses. And within VR, how do you see that kind of applying into things like corrective lenses and or ability? Because some people can't see. Like for me, I've got to have glasses on to read the screen in front of me, but I can see just fine, you know, 20 feet in front of me. So it's a different kind of scenario. How does that play out down the road? Because obviously that's a big market.
That's why we have such a good opportunity to build in those capabilities inside the glasses, immersive glasses themselves. So we offer a diopter range from 0 to -6, so users
Mhm.
can
Yep.
comfortably wear these devices without wearing their own glasses. And that's why
Mhm.
the device form factor is so light and compact. We shouldn't have users have to struggle to wear their own glasses and then the headset. It's not comfortable or sustainable in the long
Right.
term. Hence, these are great opportunities to push those boundaries and push user comfort and usability. That's why we continue to do that from my Vive Flow and now Vive XR Elite, both incorporate these
Yeah.
diopter ranges.
Let's talk about the Vive Wallet, because that, of course, when you look at where Web 2 and Web 3 integrations are going, we're starting to see massive adoption here in the use case of technology around Web 3, especially when it comes to digital collectibles, NFTs, etc. When you get into this, any big updates outside of what we've seen so far? Obviously, Ethereum and Polygon both within the network. Any plans for additional blockchains to come on?
We announced a partnership with Lamina One that was founded by the Snow Crash author Neil Stevenson, who also joined us at
Okay.
CES a few weeks ago. So Lamina One is powered by Avalanche, and it's a layer one blockchain that will
Mhm.
really help us accelerate this vision of making sure that cross worlds and cross platform ownership, transferability of digital assets and identity can be seamless. This is the direction that we'll continue to push because again, ViVERSE is all about openness, interoperability, and we share very much the same vision with partners like Amina One in ensuring that users can own their assets, their identity. Nothing needs to be owned by platform owners. Everyone should
Right.
be able to seamlessly traverse between different platforms, different devices.
That's good. I mean, we had John Wu on here not too long ago. He's the CEO of Avalanche, and
Mm-hmm.
we got into it with him and just asked him point blank on that, and he was like, "Hey, yeah, maybe there's a partnership brewing here. So hopefully this is going to come together." It sounds like you guys already have something kind of in the wake there. Let's talk about this whole idea of early adopters, because this is one of the things I look at when you think of where Meta, obviously, the Oculus, it was kind of one of the first items, obviously HTC to market. But now we're starting to see Web3 adoption and early adoption by certain technology level type people that watch our show. When you look at that in comparison to what's happening in AR, VR, and what's happening in Web3, is that the same audience, do you feel?
Maybe there will be overlap, but maybe not entirely the same. People are curious about these technologies from different vantage points and motivations.
Mm.
Of course, the VR AR world is a lot about immersion and sense of presence and what that means to the human experience. Web3 is a lot about the ideal of ownership, of the self-custodial identity and assets, and the more democratized, open, decentralized internet. In our vision of the open metaverse, the VIVERSE, Web3 technologies, blockchains are an essential pillar in ensuring many of these ideals can be realized. So we go from the immersive starting point, and the Web3 technologies are essential for ensuring our vision comes true. And for Web3 to go more towards immersive definitely adds a layer of better human experience.
Right.
So I feel that these two industries are converging, and users and people that are enthusiastic about these industries, we find reasons to care about these technologies in different ways that serve them.
I would agree. I mean, just in the research that we've done, and also some of the kind of the scenarios that have started to play out within the Web3 world in terms of new innovation, gaming, the use case of avatars, et cetera. All that's starting to play into it. Now you guys have done a lot in the way of wallet integration. How long before we would see the ability of plugging in our mobile wallets? Most people have their wallets on their phones, of being able to integrate that within the AR or VR experience. Is that coming soon? Where do you guys kind of stand on that position?
So we already implement that with the Vive Wallet companion app. It will be you can log in Vive Wallet with your MetaMask account, and with a
Okay.
companion app, you can view your digital assets in the VR mode. So these are definitely converging. You can use the Vive Market to purchase NFTs as well. We are also helping
Right.
artists to create their NFT collections, and promote them to their fan base. So we're hoping to build these foundational tools and tool sets, and make sure that we help creators to take advantage of what these new technologies mean, which is better monetization for them, making sure the smart contracts will make sure that they get properly compensated for their creative work. And all of this is to ultimately empower them, realize this idea that Viverse will be built by the people, created by the people, for the people, and people will benefit from it. Hence, NFTs and blockchain technologies, again, the Web3 technology pillars are so important for this vision.
I think the key here is, as wallets, where if we get to a point where you can actually function within a VR world and do wallet activities, actually send, receive, be able to do a transaction search, all those kind of things that typically you can do within the wallet ecosystem. Once that we start to see that element, I think now you're talking about the potential of NFT integration, acquiring, going into marketplaces, things of that nature that would be really cool. How does that play into kind of the future of where you guys are going around partnership integration? You just think about things like Immutable X and VeVe. I look at that ecosystem. You look at Cavernous. There's some potentials out here that could be tied into what you guys are doing at HTC. Any plans to go in that direction?
We're always looking for great partners with shared visions to expand these services to users. I can't comment on specifics about what conversations we're having or not having specifically until it's prime time. But we're definitely always looking to collaborate with the ecosystem. No, we can't do any of this alone. This is all of an ecosystem effort, which is why since the early days we've been investing broadly in the ecosystem, collaborating with companies big and small to make sure that we provide the best user experience.
Yeah, I think the key here is going to be integrations across a lot of these ecosystems. But back to your point, very open. If we do have a fully open Web3 and how that plays into VR and a lot of the devices, I think are going to be pretty cool. This was a good
Yeah.
example. I mean, you know, the RoboCop just did a drop, or VeVe just did a drop on RoboCop. This is a good example of what that might look like if we were able to bring those NFTs into a VR world, and whether it's through integration and the potential there. I think this is going to get really exciting because there's just so many people. I know with my kids, when we had a chance to play with the NFT and the AR aspect of it, they're starting to understand that, you know. And I just saw the VR new Mario Kart game that my son is playing. Again, more it's just so cool how they've integrated that into kind of the spatial aspect of real world, then through the VR device itself. So a lot of definite opportunities here. And
They're the
if you
metaverse
look at,
generation.
yeah,
Naturally, everything is spatial for them.
everything, yeah, it is. And it's kind of fun to watch because they're starting to really understand, one, the ownership of digital assets. They understand what collectibles are. And it's a completely different ecosystem, I think, you know, that's going on in their brain. Additionally, there's a lot of new advancements in terms of the gaming companies. You got Star Atlas coming in. Let me kind of mute this one. But this is, you know, just some quick play on what they're doing. So Star Atlas also going into the VR space. Again, opportunities here for some great partnerships. Where do you think the gaming ecosystem will come when it comes to HTC, of being able to maybe see those kind of games in the HTC devices?
So again, I see ViveVerse as a portal to infinite possibilities. We're not going to build ViveVerse as walled garden. It will be completely open. It will be a point of departure into many of these fantastic worlds and experiences created by partners. So we welcome all partners that are willing to work with us and learn with us and grow with us to join this ecosystem, and we'll continue to play our part in realizing this. So absolutely more to come, a lot more exciting updates that you'll be seeing this year from ViveVerse, from HTC Vive.
Yep.
We're open to conversations with partners that share the same vision.
I like it. Well, I think the key here is going to be as we see more and more Web3 development, which is happening right now at very breakneck speeds. It seems to the last 90 days, a lot of these companies have started to kind of reveal what they've been working on for the last 6 months to a year. And a lot of innovation down now toward AR, VR. So I'm really excited about that. I want to pause for a moment and take time to thank our sponsors. If you're into blockchain gaming, or maybe you're just trying to start your exploration in Web3, this is your one-stop shop, because everything from music to film, all of that available over at Gala Games. You can just jump over to their website, check out the game section. They've got everything from Superior, Spider Tanks. We've dropped a lot about that. Townstar, one of the more popular ones. Fortitude coming soon, and many, many more, including Battlestar Galactica. Don't forget Grit and some of the others that are really some of these graphical phenomenons. But just check them out. Just go to gala.games or games.gala.com. And then we're back here with Pearly Chen from HTC. And Pearly, I want to get into a couple of things here now as we get into integrations. And one of the things that I wanted to look at was your avatars. So your avatars, you've got kind of this flexible avatar system, you know, anime, kind of cartoonish, a little bit more real life. I like this. This is really good. But what about maybe offering up a ReadyPlayerMe integration? What do you think?
So again, going back to openness, right? This is all built on VRM standard, that is open protocol. So whether that is the single photo turned into a full body realistic
Right.
avatar, or an animated style or style lifestyle, offer 4 different styles right now, and we'll continue to expand. So as long as it's open, so all developers can access easily, and use the SDK to bring these easily traversable avatars into their worlds, then we'll continue to collaborate and work with them. We'll continue to
Yeah.
expand support as well. You mentioned ReadyPlayerMe. We're working with partners that share the same vision again. So you'll see more
Cool.
updates on all of those fronts. So continue to offer more ways for people to express themselves in these avatars.
Yeah.
Don't they
Our
just bring a
and
smile to your face?
yeah, well, I like it. We play around with the
Yeah,
RPM stuff, so it's fun. And
yeah,
the opportunity here is big, I think, because you are seeing projects like Unstoppable with digital ID, what that might look like within the Web3 world. Now we're starting to see Web3 integrated websites that will have functionality that I think eventually are going to become VR enabled. All of that I think will start to scale and move in a very big way. What about things like just fashion in general? You look at Artifact and what DressX has done and all those kind of things. It's just a natural for what's happening within your ecosystem. How long before
I
something like that starts to hit?
I think so. We already announced a partnership with Elle in Taiwan, the fashion magazine
Mhm.
Elle. So they'll be building Elleverse inside the Viveverse to
Okay.
offer different fashion items and for fans to come together and spend time together, explore different digital merchandise, etc., etc. So it is naturally evolving for brands of all kinds, not just fashion, but to find the metaverse or virtual worlds additional innovative touch point with their consumers to
Yeah.
express their brand identity, to give a better user experience. So we see all of that developing at fast speed.
Let's move over to HTC Worlds. You've got a good list right now, and when you look at some of the options within ViveVerse, um, when will you be adding more? Because I mean, this is a good list, but there's if you look at some of the creator-generated worlds, wow, it's pretty amazing what you can do within it. What does that look like in terms of your
Absolutely.
roadmap?
So again, all about unleashing human imagination, and I feel that it's a very powerful idea to put the power of creation into everybody's hands. Right now, there are already hundreds of worlds that you've seen and been wowed by by creators that are building these wonderful worlds, and we'll continue to focus on and making sure the developer tools, the creator tools, are complete and powerful, so everyday users who are not maybe don't necessarily have the skills to build in Unity or more complex 3D engines today can easily build and publish these worlds and share their creativity with the world. You'll see more on that coming this year.
That'll be cool. I think if you get down to a point where it's kind of like, referring back to Ready Player Me, but they've done it to a point where almost anyone can build an avatar. And that's the kind of integration I think as we start to see more and more adoption coming into this space, especially from a Web2 standpoint, trying to convert a lot of those users that have been kind of stuck around that industry and that technology for the last few decades. This is a new world. It's a new opportunity too. So it's going to be cool to watch. Within the idea of virtual worlds, and you go beyond what is happening right now, and NFTs and the integration of brands. We're already starting, like you talked about, Elverse, but the opportunity here now pretty big for maybe even brands to start creating these kinds of experiences. We've seen this in some places, but it hasn't completely vetted itself out. How long do you think it's going to be before we really see a Web 2 to Web 3 conversion or ability to convert a lot of these Web 2 brands into what is now, potentially a Web 3 environment?
We see a lot of brands experimenting, like you say, whether that's Nike or Gucci Garden, Roblox, or many more trying. I think it's absolutely essential that brands not just stay curious, but really on top of the fast developing technologies and communities and user interest in this space. Because even if it still feels a little bit new and
Mhm.
frivolous today,
Yeah,
very soon it will be like every brand needs a website. All the website
yeah,
will soon in the coming years to become a virtual world that is more spatial, that's more connected, that's powered by Web3 elements of like NFT collections and more. So I see the acceleration of interest from customers and brands and companies from all across the industry. Most people are a little bit in the experimental phase. Some are dipping their toes in, some are more all in.
Right.
But I feel like all this interest will translate into a faster transition, acceleration of a better user experience, which is what we envision for this next iteration of the internet.
Well, and I think it's also the entertainment factor. What we have realized over the last 2 decades is the growth of the entertainment market. Let's just call it gaming for now, but we're going to see a new evolution of what that entertainment looks like. It may not necessarily just be games. It could be experiences like what we've seen now with music, now most likely film starting to integrate into what we will see in the future of, these new virtual experiences. That I think overall, and then you can apply education into it, knowledge-based stuff, as well as just the whole branding effect. And I think that's where a lot of things, we were showing a little bit about Oreo there. Not that, Oreo, but it's a good branding element. The key there is they're going after the gaming ecosystem and going after, kind of a connection to those young gamers that eventually are going to be Oreo brand lovers, most of their lives, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
But the point is there's a lot of opportunity here going forward.
Yeah.
For sure. What
but
about
beyond brand?
Go ahead. Go on.
No, I was just saying beyond branding and marketing, which is I think on the top line a lot of people talk about and pay a lot of attention to. But there's also a lot of real use cases, like you mentioned, whether it's learning, right, full body learning, training, or it's arts and culture, it's human experiences that can be enhanced with the existing technologies today. If all of these can be made much more accessible via all kinds of devices, all kinds of platforms, and people can traverse them seamlessly and effortlessly with some of these Web3 technologies that we mentioned, the impact can be really huge, whether it's live performances, live events, or it's appreciating the arts in a different way, or unleashing creativity and helping people create and monetize their creations in a different way. So I was just trying to comment that beyond the marketing and branding, there's so many real commercial
Totally agree.
and human experience value that can be realized today.
Let's go into multi-device support, because that's something you guys have been able to do, and it's effective because we are in an era of adoption curves that are beginning to take place, and we have to look back, in the essence of how devices are currently in play and how this applies to a lot of the new technologies that are coming forward. Do you think we'll see fast adoption, or do you think it's the existing devices that we've got today, are our computers, our phones, or our tablets, moving into what we'll see in VR? Because I feel like that's what I'm experiencing right now. Is I'm just getting into using headsets for the first time and going away from that 2D experience. What are your thoughts?
So there needs to be a transition. All of us have a smartphone device or laptop, a tablet, or desktop computers that we're used to for the past 2 decades. So these devices will be the transition or jump-off point into experiencing some of these virtual worlds, like you're seeing the success of Fortnite or Minecraft or many Roblox, etc. So that's why we want to make sure the ViveVerse is accessible via all of your 2D devices. That's why we support Web XR, so that with any connected browsers, with any device that you have, you can access ViveVerse Worlds.
Right.
But that is important. And then ultimately, as we see Vive XR Elite, showing the innovation trend goes to more compact, more wearable, accessible for people of all head shapes and culture and usage habits. Then we'll hopefully bring these into the mainstream. People will start having a headset as their productivity workstation or as their entertainment station or at work. Then we will really enter a much more immersive version of these virtual worlds. But there needs to be a transition period.
Pearl, it's, when you look at the scenario that we have right now, which is massive markets around Web2 gaming, and now the issue of it seems to be, it's kind of like clawing that scepter out of their hand and getting them to move into NFTs, digital collectibles, integration into Web3. Are Are you guys trying to convince some of these, Web 2 studios to say, hey, this is kind of the next evolution, guys, you should be developing on this? And if so, what's the success rate?
I don't think we're here to convince anyone to do anything that they're not ready to do. We need to focus on building the right tool sets and the industry environment and the right vision direction to corral share like-minded people and partners that with a shared vision to join us on this journey.
Yeah.
We're very dedicated to doing this work. When the brands and game studios or partners of all sizes and directions are ready, we're here to talk to them and help
Yeah.
bring them into this brave new world.
You're kind of a build it and they will come kind of scenario is what the market, and to a certain extent that is happening in other aspects. We are seeing a little bit of the Web 2 gaming studios warming up to this. NFTs are still a little bit digital collectibles, still a little bit hands off, but I still think that they have yet to see an ecosystem that truly can kind of maximize that. Once that occurs, it'll be an interesting play for sure. Pearly, let's look at 2023 and 2024, and we think about this is going to be an active year for VR. I think it's, we've already seen it's here in January, and
I
we've already
agree.
got so much news on it. Do you think this is the year for maybe breaking out of that early adopter syndrome in technology and getting into mass market? Is this the year that will happen?
I feel that we all need to be patient. We know from 2015 shipping the first Vive that this was going to be a marathon, not a sprint. And it
Yeah,
continues to be the case. We need to be very patient in cultivating the right use cases, partnerships, customers, the right tool sets and ecosystem to be ready for that takeoff. I feel that if we every year in the beginning of the year we prepare ourselves for break off year, we might constantly get underwhelmed or disappointed. We know that this will be a steady growth of adoption, and when the right elements come in place, in which we're working very hard and getting them ready,
yeah,
then we will see the returns we want to see. It's probably a more healthy way to prepare ourselves, whether it's ourselves or the founders we work with or developers of all sizes. It's important to focus on the vision and the direction you want to play a part in, and be ready for that jump off, that break off year.
yeah, for sure. We were chatting with Ryan over at Golf Plus. This is a big meta game within the golfing ecosystem, and they're in the process of trying to transition, and we'll probably see maybe some NFTs in there in the future. And I hope those kind of things can start to play into partnerships with companies like HTC, because I think this is kind of the next step for a lot of these kind of companies as they start to understand what's happening, obviously with VR, but the opportunity around NFTs and digital collectibles. We're really excited about that. Pearly, it's always fun talking to you and getting kind of some insights of where HTC is going. We've definitely got to get one of these devices in the studio so we can start playing around with it and have some fun in the ViveVerse out there for sure. Anything last minute, anything that you have coming up soon that you want to talk about? Whether you're going to be at events, you've got something releasing, anything cool?
Our coolest news about the Vive XR Elite has finally been unveiled just a few weeks ago at Consumer Electronics Show. So we're still riding on the high of that. We'll be
Yep.
going to Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, as we do every year, to showcase more use cases and partnerships and exciting updates on this platform, not just the hardware platform, but the Viveverse
Right.
ecosystem at large and what we're all about. So join us.
Yeah, very cool. Pearly, great having you on the show today. Thanks so much for stopping in. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Paul.
All right. Okay, you guys are tuned in over maybe on the podcast side of things. Jump over here to the YouTube channel. That's where you get a chance to see all these visuals. And a lot of times when we break down some of our projects and analysis of what's going on, not only in Web3, Metaverse, gaming, NFTs, but now we focus a lot in AR, VR. And it is one of the things that is starting to grow, not only on our channel, but as you guys know, we do TechPath as well. But make sure and get us over here on YouTube. It's the place to catch all this stuff. If you're not in the Diamond Circle, get in. It's a free program, and it's really cool in the essence of a lot more content flowing into that you guys, of course, get access to. If you want to reach me, it's out there on Twitter, @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on Metaverse Insider.